Hi, my name is Phil Kaspari, and I'm the Agriculture and Horticulture Agent in the Delta Junction District Office of the University of Alaska Fairbanks Cooperative Extension Service. Today we're going to be discussing various aspects of the use of a backpack or hand-operated sprayer and give a demonstration of one method of calibration. It's the 1/128th of an acre method. These types of sprayers are useful for applying pesticides, usually herbicides, across smaller areas and areas that larger equipment just can't access, say backcountry or steep slopes. And then they're also commonly used for spot spraying efforts. And depending on whether you plan on doing primarily broadcast spraying versus spot spraying will determine how much herbicide product you add when preparing your spray solution. Some product labels will provide a chart for mixing small batches based on a concentration by volume of solution when doing spot spraying. These concentrations are generally based on the rates necessary when targeting certain weed species, and the label will also give broadcast application rates for a given area, say 1,000 square feet or an acre. Regarding spot spraying label recommendations, there may also be restrictions stating the maximum amount of product that can be applied per acre. So it's necessary to read and understand the product label, have knowledge of the site where you will be doing the spraying, and make sure that the product is labeled for that site. Be knowledgeable of your pest, and in general, in the case of weeds, know its life cycle. Is it an annual, a biennial, or a perennial? And if the label gives any specific recommendations for that species. There are a number of ways to go about calibrating a backpack sprayer. Remember, calibration is having an understanding of the volume of spray solution you are applying over a given area. The method we are going to demonstrate is easy in that it doesn't require much for math skills. It's the 1/128th of an acre method, where you measure an area 18.5 feet by 18.5 feet, or it could be something equivalent to that, say 10 by 34 or 20 by 17. But it's important that it adds up to 340 square feet, which is roughly 1/128th of an acre. And what's significant about 128 is that's how much fluid ounces there are in 1 gallon. So once you've determined how many ounces you've sprayed across that 340 square feet, there is a direct relationship to gallons per acre, provided you maintain your consistency. So what we will be doing is, with about approximately a half full tank load in our backpack sprayer, we'll mark a line, and then after we sprayed out our 340 square feet, we'll add water back to that line, determining measuring how much water we've put back into the tank. An alternative method of determining your application rate using the 1/128th of an acre method is to time yourself spraying across that 340 square foot area. Of course, you won't be stopping at the ends of each pass, and you should do this several times to gain a sense of your consistency and then figure your average time to cover that area. Then, rather than measuring back into your sprayer, you just spray into a bucket and then measure how much you've collected during that elapsed time period. Again, the ounces collected is equivalent to gallons per acre. Consistency of your walking speed is crucial, and then your nozzle size and pressure are all key to maintaining your accuracy. And an easy way to add consistency to your application is to use a constant flow valve, which simply threads onto the end of your spray wand, and then your nozzle goes onto that, and they're predetermined for the pressure. This one happens to be for 21 pounds per square inches, and as long as you maintain enough pressure it's going to give a constant delivery rate, and if your pressure drops off too much, then the flow is going to stop. So let's go through the process. The first task is to measure out our test area. This is that 18.5 foot square that is approximately 340 square feet and is roughly 1/128th of an acre. The nozzle has an 80-degree tapered flat fan pattern, and its flow rate is 0.15 gallons per minute at 40 pounds per square inch. Nozzles with different patterns and flow rates are available. The sprayer has a wand with a squeeze handle that controls the flow of product out of the sprayer. There's a pressure gauge to help maintain a steady flow. There's a reservoir for your spray solution, and there's a hand pump to develop the pressure to deliver the product. Once pressure is developed, squeezing the handle on the wand starts the flow, and releasing the handle stops the flow. It's a good idea to do a sample spray outside of your measured test area to determine the shape and density of the pattern. This is important because the shape of the pattern defines how much overlap you'll have between passes. After you've defined the pattern, fill the reservoir between 1/2 and 2/3 full of water and mark the level of the liquid in the tank. Then, while walking at a steady pace, spray your test area. In this method, it's important that you stop flow on the sprayer at the end of a pass and then start it up again as you begin the next pass, and that you overlap your passes as defined by the spray pattern test. With a tapered nozzle, generally you'll be overlapping about 1/3 of the pattern width, and it's important to be consistent with your walking speed. After you've sprayed the entire test area, it's time to measure how much you've sprayed out. Note where the level was when you started and where it is after the test spray. Then, using a measuring cup, refill the reservoir, keeping track of how much you put in as you fill it to the level it was when you started. In this case, it took 72 ounces of water. That means that at the speed I'm walking, the sprayer will deliver 72 gallons of product per acre. Now that you are calibrated, you can use this information to determine how much area you can cover per, in our case, a 3-gallon tank, and how much product to add to your tank based on label recommendation. We set up a ratio and determine that a full 3-gallon sprayer will cover 1,813 square feet. With this information, we can determine how much product we add to our tank based on label recommendations. For example, when a label recommends 32 fluid ounces of product per acre, set up a ratio to determine how much product to add to the 3-gallon spray tank to cover the 1,813 square feet. And again, consistency is key. So if you're working on a steep slope or in some thick brush, bear that all in mind so that your calibration is going to be suitable for that site in which you're working. And keep records. If you're going to be just keeping some notes on a notepad or on your phone, that's what more folks are doing these days. That's a good habit to get into, and there may be regulatory obligations for keeping those records, depending on the job that you're doing. But noting the effectiveness of your application will be beneficial with future pest management needs. So understanding calibration is crucial so that you know how much pesticide product to add to your tank to make sure that application is within legal label recommendations. It's illegal to exceed the label rates and may be harmful to the environment, and conversely, if you're way under recommended rates, the application may be ineffective and may have been a waste of time and money. So in short, having a calibrated sprayer is the right thing to do.